Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to The Way Forward. In today's show, I come to you with an interesting findings. The past 2 weeks, I did a little bit of an experiment by sending a clip of a video that I received about one priest speaking about the differences between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. I did that, send it to about 100 people to figure out, mostly Africans, most of them are Africans, to find out actually, to have a gauge into where they feel and what they think. And I found something interesting in their response. And I was kind of shocked that quite the majority of them hate Trump and can't stand Trump. And I decided to do probe more by asking the people questions about why they feel the way they feel, and why there is so much hatred against Trump, and why is it that it's like all eggs on one basket, but most Africans support Democrats. And for me, who is independent, and although I'm a registered Republican in Maryland, but it's only because of the disenfranchising process, and in which case, if you're independent in Maryland, you don't get to select who goes to the who in the, in the primary, don't get to participate in the primary. So in the general elections, you only vote either of the candidates for both parties. So somebody already made a choice for you, so you can only choose from both, and I think that is undemocratic. And such process is undemocratic, and it is disenfranchising. So just for disclosure's sake. So, but my question is this: that finding that was kind of surprise to me in the current environment where almost everything is split 50-50. And quite a lot of Africans propose and promote to be Christians, and a large number of them say profess to be born again. And then I decided to ask questions about some other issues. What are the reasons why they feel the way they feel, between the Democrats and the Republicans, between Trump and Joe Biden? And I was actually surprised to find out that most of them are Democrats because of immigration policies. That's one reason. And of course, they also hate Trump that much because of their immigration policies. And I say, okay, immigration policies. America's kind of has been consistent in terms of their immigration policy because the law, immigration law, controls and governs that. And say, look at the executive order that Trump has issued. He hates immigrants. And the other comments by quite a lot of Africans is that he says that Africans is something that I cannot repeat out of my mouth, degrading things that about whole that I can comment on, and can use that. So, and that has actually been the case for quite some time. So my question then is that I've been searching on the internet for this video or audio where he made this comment. Can somebody send it to me? But not a single person can substantiate that. Actually, there's no evidence of that. And instead, what I heard was about the report in CNN and other media. And I said, okay, that's so. There are two reasons, and the first reason is immigration policy. Second reason is the comment about Africans, and the third reason is that he's a wicked and divisive person, and ungodly. So, where is the evidence and why? Of course, there is no substantiation of that. There is no evidence, and of course, a lot of statements, but not to defend either candidate. But my concern is trying to find out why a particular group of people seems to think in group think. We have what they call group thinking in psychology. So why is it that it seems like it's a group thinking, that everybody seems to think the same way? And of course, it's supposed with the belief that if you are not black, If you don't support Democrats, you are not black, and so it's always a group thing. Okay, so I just want to explain that. Now, as far as the evidence that is concerned about the hatred, okay, the reason why somebody should hate somebody else is because of executive order and some things that people said there is no evidence of it, because it is repeated in the media. Then, and I said, of course, we know that we are speaking, and I was actually I sent it to people who are largely educated. Some of them, and quite many of them, have a doctorate degree and at least a master's degree. So these are enlightened folks and educated people. So now I decided to cross-examine to find out, okay, with all this education, and what is actually our standard and our value, both in terms of our identity as a people, Africans, okay, people who are educated, people who are mostly Christians, if all of them are all Christians, and quite a large number of them profess to be born again. So we're talking about these different identities: religious or spiritual identity, cultural identity, and racial identity, social identity, so educational identity. So now when we look at that and say, what are the values that you actually trying to, is that aligning with the values that we have in all those areas? Is that also the standard we have in terms of evaluating those areas? So I decided to ask some more questions. Now, if that's the case, then what about the gangs and the criminals that are bringing drugs, and we hear about tens of thousands of people that dies in America from drug, people that comes in and in this country cause mayhem, people whose children were killed, and of course, for a disclosure sake, I've rehabilitated people who are in gang, and I see and know how they operate in mediated problems among them, and know the kind of heartless behaviors that they exhibit towards their targets and their victims. So, and I say, what about that? Is that also enough reason to justify making some changes in the immigration policy? And of course, everybody was dismissive of that because, of course, he said, well, those things are just stories. Okay. Now, and I say, my second question again is this. For all these people that complain about these things, they come from Africa, where we have leaders that I don't want to say or use the word that we are complaining about, that when you look at